Да, ничего. Я заранее специально выехала.
Ой, не сдавали. Это вчера были столько отзывов, что мы сразу начали, что-то настраивали.
Сейчас
Они
побьют.
сразу написали. Всем партнерам.
Нет, ну, собственно, мы уже можем
Все, да,
начинать. Вот, все. Это что касается YouTube, в YouTube все идет. Так, BBB-SEO, здесь захватывается этот, все нормально.
Так, мне листать презентацию.
Все, давай.
Все,
Ага, все,
держи.
здесь я сам держу.
Нам включается свет. Включили?
Микрофон работает. Все, все хорошо.
Все.
Ну, проверьте там.
Они меня слышат. Hello, dear participants. Yeah. So if you can hear me, please turn on your cameras and give any sign that you can hear me, whether it is well or not. If everybody can hear me well enough, then just a plus in the chat. And if everything is good, then we can start. Yeah, thank you. Good. Okay, we will work in pair. Good. Okay, I expect 9 people.
Они вас слышат? Нормально все?
Yeah. Плюсики ставят. Да. Пока все хорошо. Все. Okay. So we are waiting a little else. Other people, and then we start. So if there is a problem, I hope I can notice it. Good. So my name is Valentina Mantulenko, and our online meeting today is devoted to project management. I have 2 big tasks. These tasks are marked as achievement 1 and achievement 2, but I'm not sure about the second task, that we will have enough time to do a lot.
In my opinion, the rocket, because
the
it's
rocket.
yeah. It's something very strange to see for real in a city.
Yeah,
and,
just in the middle of the city, you can see the rocket.
Yeah. Many other cities have monuments, and some has a real rocket, and that's very
a
very
real
good.
rocket. So
Yeah,
you were told. Yeah, I hope you were told that is the real rocket, the one that could go to space. Yeah. Okay, guys. Right now, from time to time, you will see me, but mostly you will see the presentation. Hope it won't be too boring for you to see just the text. I will, from time to time, we will change the screen and you will see me asking you questions, and I will also be able to see your faces. But right now, we will start our presentation, and Я хорошо их слышу, все хорошо.
Они вас слышат хорошо.
So once again, do you hear me well? Because I was offered to put on the earphones with a microphone. Do you think I need it?
Yeah.
No? Okay, let it be.
of all management types and directions. Why I think so? I can afford to answer this question at the end of our lecture, of our semi-lecture, semi-seminar. It's quite interesting for me to know your opinions on this topic, on this statement. So this is my statement at the beginning of our meeting. And in the first slide, you can see two pictures. The first picture, it's a picture of star constellations, and as a symbol of project management. And the second picture, it's a word salad of different categories of different words which project management deals with. So my first question to you is what is the difference between a project and a process? If you know it exactly, or if you just have an idea what is the difference, please write in the chat your thoughts. What is the difference? A process and a project. It shouldn't be a big scientific work, just your thoughts, just your ideas. Okay, I see that some people are typing. Good. So, project is a series of tasks and the process a step to achieve goals. A project is more about making something new or implementing a change. A process to create value by repeatedly performing tasks. Good. Okay, project. Period, budget, resources. Process is a description of certain order of tasks. Process is more an operation, and project is objective to accomplish a task for a result. An action is a project to aim product, service, or result. A project, imagine something new, okay, to implement our ideas. Okay, good. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And if we summarize all these ideas, all these opinions, there are some things that, if I don't forget, I would like to develop a little. But to summarize these opinions, I propose you the next slide, where you can see two pictures to the same topic. It is car production. In the picture above, you can see a scene from one quite old film where they produce a unique car to travel through the time, to travel to the future and to the past. And in the second picture, in the picture below, we can see a car conveyor, a typical conveyor. This is their enterprise, their car enterprise in the Samara region. It's old production and very famous in Russia. So the first picture is, of course, for a project, and the second with conveyor, it symbolizes their process. You are absolutely right when you speak about repeatedly performing tasks, about the same results that we get every minute, every hour, every day, every year. We have the same cars from the conveyor, and when we implement something new, when we want to check an idea, when we want to get a unique result, to implement changes, then we speak about a project. And here we have these links between project management and management of innovations and change management. Very often organizational changes are implemented through projects, and if we want to realize, to implement innovative activities at enterprises, we also make it in a project form. The next question is when we continue speaking about the project nature, the project essence, the next aspect is that their project should be effective, can be effective and efficient. How do you understand the difference between these two terms, efficiency and effectiveness? What is the difference in your opinion? Please express it in the chat. It's a pity that that I don't see you. Your reaction is missing.
Okay.
Do you have any ideas? Do you have any thoughts? What is efficiency and what is effectiveness?
Hello, teacher. I think that efficiency is to reference that the speak to make the project an efficient in the power. What I can to make this project is efficient, like
Unfortunately, I don't hear very well. If you can, please type. The air conditioning is functioning so well, so efficient and effective that I can hear only the laptop. Okay, so efficiency refers to how well something is done, and effectiveness, how useful it is. Efficiency is about doing a specific task in optimized way. Thank you. Efficiency relates to quality of being efficient, doing right things in right way. Okay. Effectiveness is about doing the right task, completing activities, achieving goals. Yeah, and efficiency is linked to the optimal option of doing. Yeah. Okay. Actual output, it's effectiveness, and efficiency is the actual input or the reference input. It is difficult thought for me today, but interesting. Okay. Good. Efficient, to be performed in the best way, and effective, produce, accomplish, do a task. Okay, yeah, sometimes effective project, like efficient process. Sometimes we change the meanings of these categories. So, good, efficient and effective. Good. So, in the 20th century, when the process of active exploration of space began, there was a problem for scientists to put down their thoughts, their ideas in the space, because the usual pen didn't function in the space. And two projects were initiated, the US project and the second, the project in the former Soviet Union. Both projects were effective, were productive. The problem was solved through each of these projects. The American project's result was the so-called space pen, and the Soviet result was a pencil. So we had a result, a product in both projects, but what project, which project was efficient? Of course, the second, the Soviet project, because we got a result in the best way. Using your expressions, we used less resources, less money, less time, maybe. The American specialists spent really a lot of money to invent this thing, but a pencil cost nothing, I think, for the Soviet project team. That's why being effective, it really means doing the right things, and being efficient means doing things right. Doing or getting results with the least waste of resources, of effort, of time. Our first part of this meeting is devoted to the essence, to the nature of a project. And when I asked you to explain the difference between a process and a project, one of participants wrote about three very important aspects of a project. It's time, budget, money, and a result, an effect, a product that we get at the end of the project. And the next slide is just about this magical triangle of a project. These three aspects, budget, cost, a result, a goal of a project, and time, a period. These three aspects, these three angles make the project boundaries, make the project limitations. And here we often speak about the so-called egg principle in project management. These three angles, these three boundaries, limitations, make the hard part of a project. It's like shell, like egg shell. And every project is born at the crossroads, at the junction of uncertain and limiting factors. So these three aspects, money, result, goal, time, these are limiting factors. This is the hard part. This is the shell. But inside, we have the content, the soft part of the egg. And this is the soft, the uncertain part of every project. This is the project content. Activities, communications. This part is constantly changing, developing, and this is not good and not bad. This is just so. And it helps the project team to adapt to uncertain environment, to turbulent environment. So if we summarize the information about the project nature, the project essence, we emphasize these main aspects. Every project, a project and a process are different things. It's not the same. A real project is linked to innovations, to creating something new, to getting a new unique result. A project is related to changes. A project can or should be effective and efficient, and every project has this magical triangle, these three limitations: budget or money, goal or result, because goal is an ideal result, and time, schedule. If you have questions to this part, you can write them. If your questions can wait a little, you can put them down and put these questions at the end, how you like. And we go to the next point. The next topic is project management methodologies. What is a methodology? How do you understand this term, this category? So please express your opinion in the chat. What is methodology? Okay, very interesting. It is a path through which researchers need to conduct their research. It's a very beautiful association, in my opinion. Is a set of procedures. A keyword is really a set. Use instruments, tools for research, system, okay, good, system of methods used. It's great that you link this category with research. But okay. But it's not the only direction, the only space where we deal with methodologies. Okay, thank you a lot for your answers, for your descriptions, methods, how to find a way to manage a certain project, design, science. Okay. Okay, good. Thank you. Yeah. It's a great pleasure to communicate with you, to put your answers and to put your questions and to get to read your answers. I really enjoy it. You have to come to Russia. We need such students, really. Good. So methodology is really a system of principles, of tools, of methods to implement. In our case, to implement, to realize a project idea. It's like a technology that explains us how to reach the desired result. There are many methodologies, there are many concepts, many paths, many sets of ideas and principles how we can do it. On the whole, we can select, we can distinguish, we can divide these methodologies in two big categories: light methodologies and hard. The light group is also called folk methodologies or niche, and hard concepts are also called universal. Here in the slide you can also see criteria based on which we make this division, we make this selection, this grouping. So the first criterion is how easy or how difficult is it to use this methodology, to apply it, where, in what spheres on the whole can we use this set of principles, how much does it cost, and their positions, their opinions on their project's success is different in the framework of these methodologies. So the light methodologies are usually quite easy. They are developed by people who think that they are competent enough, that they are experienced enough to develop their own methodology, and they do it, they present it via the internet, and you can use it. These methodologies are called, that's why they are called folk, and as a rule they are quite cheap or just free of charge, and they can be applied in a wide range of spheres: in construction, in engineering, in IT sphere, in education, and so on and so forth. If we speak about hard methodologies, they are usually developed, worked out by professionals, by groups of professionals. They are usually big. That's why they cost something, and they have a limited sphere of applications. For example, a hard methodology is only for finance or only for IT sphere. And if we consider the project success from positions of light and hard methodologies, the project success is understood in different ways. In the framework of light methodologies, if we disturb these three limitations of a project, if we spend a little more money compared with the budget that was set at the start, if we realize a project a bit longer than it was expected, but we achieved the result we wanted to achieve. Okay, the project is successful enough. And it is excluded, it's impossible for hard methodologies, for hard concepts. Here we have to stay in these limitations, we have to stay in our shell, we have to stay in this magical triangle of a project. So, the next step is stages. It's quite logical, in my opinion, that we begin a project with planning. First, we make a general planning, then detailed. We implement that we planned. We manage. We know the general management functions. We monitor, we organize, we control, we correct if it is necessary. And then we have the final stage, the finish of a project, when we can evaluate whether we got the expected result, whether we achieved the goal or not. When we speak about project stages, often we touch this idea of Deming, the so-called Deming circle. Please put pluses if you have heard about this circle, about this concept before. And if you put a plus, please very short, in what context, in management, in what direction of management, in what context. If you haven't heard about it before, that minus. I hope that you are not sleeping now, that you are with me, okay? So, have you heard about Deming circle before? Yes or no? If yes, in what context? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes, we are sleeping. Okay, so the idea is quite easy. We plan, we do, we check and adjust if it's necessary. Yeah, it's plan, do, check, act, circle. Very good. It was invented by the author in the context of quality management. Okay.
Kalau online sambil bantu akan buat laju. Wow.
Okay. So, a little later, when we will consider their project realization models, we will speak again about these stages. What is important? there is a start and there is a finish of a project. There are some other stages, and at each stage, it's important to realize, to understand what we are now. And if it is necessary, to adjust, to correct. Initially, this important stage was called by Deming check, but later he improved his model, he transformed it, and he changed this stage check for study. There are some reasons for it, but in my opinion, it's a very good idea because in their uncertain, changeable environment in which we live today, it's not enough just to check whether there is a difference between their planned action, the planned result, and the intermediate result that we have now. It's not enough. It's good to understand why we have changes, we have deviations if we have them. It's good to learn something new, to maybe search for advice from experts, to consult with colleagues, to realize what should we do to stay in the project's boundaries and to be efficient at the end. So this stage is really important, checking. Then when we speak about models, how a project can be implemented, how it can be realized, how all these stages, planning, realization, doing, checking, acting, are realized in practice. I should say that there are different models, and here you can see only two of them, of this variety of models. Here I'd like to present you a waterfall model and V model. The choice between them depends on the project itself and on the environment where the project is realized. In the waterfall model, we go from one step to another, and we don't need so much checking, testing, adjusting, corrections. In the V model, it's important and it's possible to check, to test our actions, our decisions at each stage of a project. And if it is necessary, we can return and adjust something, or we can go further. So usually we choose a waterfall model when we realize a project in a quite stable environment. For example, the Russian company, oh my God. So there are so many Russian companies. The Russian company Gazprom is quite innovative company and often realizes different projects. But this company can afford a waterfall model for its project realization, because their external environment of this company is quite stable. It's a state company, and the environment is really quite stable here. If we function, if we exist in uncertain and constantly changeable environment, then the V model is a better solution. So we, in this part of our meeting, we have considered the project methodologies, the project models, the project stages. We understand that each project begins with planning, consists of some other stages, and at the finish, at the end, we have a result. A negative result, it is also a result. A negative result, it's also an effect. We have at least experience, and we can continue to develop this idea further, or we can reject. The project stages. What stage, in your opinion, is the most important? It's my question to you. What project stage is the most important, is the most significant?
Teacher, I think that the most important in the process is the planning.
I hear you so bad. Planning. Okay. Other ideas? We can make as a mini survey now. Planning is important. Have you prepared this lecture with me together? You know every answer. Planning, checking. Yeah. Plan and do it. Checking, and its option, its transformed option study in the Deming circle is really very important. But yes, experts in the field of project management believe that up to 70% of project success depends on planning. Planning is really very important. That's why next we will speak about planning. So first, general planning. General planning begins with the goal setting. There are different goals, and even if we set, in our opinion, a very specific engineering technical goal, this goal may, and as a rule, has some brothers, some relatives. If we want to produce an innovative car, it's an engineering goal, but it has social, political, technological, economic aspects. This is the so-called STEP approach to goals. STEP: social, technical, economic, and political. So goals are considered in this aspect. We can distinguish between financial achievement and time goals based on the magical project triangle. we can use other approaches to goal setting, but significant, the most important, in my opinion, is to remember the key requirements to goal setting. Here I mean about SMART goals. I hope that you are aware with this abbreviation, with these principles. If yes, just put pluses. If no, minus. So SMART goals, SMART principles. That the goal should be specific, measurable, it should be agreed, or sometimes A stands also for achievable, but I prefer agreed. A goal should be realistic and time-bound. Okay, I can see neither plus or minuses. Okay, so a goal should be specific. It means we should clearly imagine, we should clearly see what is the result of our project. And here it's important to distinguish between goals and no goals. And when we set a goal, we have to understand what we don't want to achieve. There is a good example from the war history. During one war, the military people were not satisfied with the sanitary conditions. The sanitary conditions were bad because it was a war, and because there were a lot of rats. And the military people asked their local population to kill rats, and the military people were ready to pay some money for killed rats, and they hoped to change this situation, to improve it. The result was that the local population began breeding rats and killing them and earning money in this way. So the sanitary conditions were not improved, the problem was not solved, and the goal was not achieved. In this case, we deal exactly with this no goal, with an aspect, with a thing that we didn't expect to achieve, that we didn't want to achieve, but we got it at the end. So when we speak about specific requirements to goals, it is very important to have this idea, to understand clearly what exactly we want to achieve and what we don't want to achieve. A goal should be measurable, no matter in what items, what is the measure, kilograms, kilometers, people, money, rubles, dollars, and so on and so forth. The main thing, we should have tools, we should have instruments, we should have measures to understand that we get this result, we can touch it, we can say that we have it. the goals should be agreed. My question to you is with whom or with what the goals should be agreed? Okay, I'm waiting for your opinion in the chat. Good. I hope that you just have no ideas about it, or you are a bit tired, but you are not sleeping. Who achieve goals? People, project team. First of all, goals should be agreed with people who will achieve them. And the second aspect, goals should be agreed with each other. I said that there are different goals, and even if we set one very specific goal, this goal has different aspects, different tasks, different objectives, aims, different brothers and sisters, and we often speak in this context also about the goal tree. So goals are related to each other. They have different relations, competitive, neutral, and other types of relations, and the goals should be agreed in one or another way, in one or another manner with each other. They don't, they shouldn't contradict. The next requirement to goals is that they should be realistic. I can dream, I can set a goal to become the Russian president in 2 years, but whether it's realistic, it's a big question. And the goal should be time-bound. This is naturally linked with the project philosophy, because every project is time-bound too. So when we speak about goal setting, we speak about an iceberg. There we have the seen part, and we have the more much larger unseen part. And it's not an easy process. It's really a difficult process. If we I hope we will have time in the second part, in the second hour of our seminar, to practice a little in this aspect. Now I suggest to make a 5 minutes break, and in 5 minutes we continue speaking about project management, about planning, and next steps in this field. Thank you. 5 minutes break. Okay. I'm again with you. Hello. I like such positive people. Yeah. It's a pity that I don't see you. Oh, thanks. Thanks. It's not so interesting
I'm
to
very feliz
see
to
myself.
stand here.
Okay, so good. We can continue. Hope that the other members will join us with pictures, with beautiful pictures. Good. So we talked about. Actually, only I talking. Good. So we spoke about general planning, and we discussed goal setting. The next step. Thank you. The next step in this at this stage is stakeholder analysis. It's a very important stage too. So before we come to risks, and risks are very important for projects, we should understand who may be interested in our project, who are these people, these organizations, authorities, and we make a list of stakeholders, of possible stakeholders. This can be mass media institutes, this can be state, municipal authorities, competitors, potential clients, everybody. We make this list, and then our next step is to assess, to evaluate the impact and the interest of these stakeholders. Here in the slide, you can see some criteria based on which we assess the stakeholders. For example, it's publicity, the impact on financial resources, the role in the project. A stakeholder may be a promoter, a sponsor, the attitude to the project that can be neutral, positive, negative, and the influence on decision making, on technical decisions, on financial decisions, and so on. You can use these criteria, but of course you can you can suggest your own criteria for analyzing, for evaluating the stakeholders' impact, the stakeholders' impact, power, and interest. You can use some of these criteria, and you can use a different scale by doing this assessment. For example, 3-point scale or 5-point scale, where 1 is their the lowest mark, their lowest impact, for example, the lowest interest, and 5 is their highest impact and the highest interest in the project. Based on this assessment, we can see as a result a group of stakeholders that we should monitor during the project implementation. We also can get a group of stakeholders, the so-called promoters that have the highest impact and on our project and the highest interest in projects results, for example. And with this group, we should work very closely. We should define precise tasks for our project to work with them. Some stakeholders should just be kept informed. So you have these groups, and another aspect based on stakeholder analysis, you can come to risks. Of course, we can conduct past analysis. We have to do it in many cases. We can conduct a SWOT analysis. Due to these methodologies, we can assess the external environment, the external factors, and internal environment of the project. But this step, stakeholder analysis, is also very important, because these are people, these are organizations that could have really great impact on the project realization, on project results. That's why the major part of risks will be related to stakeholders. The next step is the risk analysis. We also make this list of risks based on the analytical work before, and we arrange these risks based on two scales. The impact of these risks on our project, and how likely is it that these risk situations occur. So we can see again the red group of risks, the yellow and the green group of risky events, of risky situations. And of course, for those risks that occur, that are in the red group, we have to imagine some measures to fight with these risks, to avoid them. So we have to deal with them in any case, and we have to show it in our plan, in our general plan, in our detailed plan, in the structure of the project. Good. The next step in our general planning is related to people, to project team. You can see in the slide some aspects that are usually analyzed, that are usually considered when we form a project team. Here, I have to return to my statement at the beginning of our meeting. I said you that, in my opinion, project management is management of stars constellations, of professional constellations. When we speak about a project team, it's a team of professionals in different spheres. These are people highly qualified. These are usually really stars in their branches, in their spheres. Of course, if we speak about a real innovative project. For some people, for example, when I ask my students, audience, what is a project for you? I usually get the answer that a marriage is also a project. A purchase of a car, building a house, it is also a project. And I agree with these statements, but here in this context, we speak about really innovative projects, economic projects, technical projects. And here we have a team of professionals in IT, in finance, in technologies, in economics. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I'm sure it is very useful for me and for you, this link. So, now imagine as a project manager, it is a really difficult task for you to bring these professionals, these stars in one team, to organize their communication, to organize their cooperation. And it's a really very difficult task to bring all this team to the same result in a limited period of time with the limited budget. And here we speak about the last aspect in the slide about result motivation, because professionals are usually people with process motivation. They really enjoy the business they do every day. They get pleasure from the process doing it. And it's another very difficult task to change their process motivation to direct their motivation to a result. Because in the project shell, in the project triangle, it's very significant, it's crucial. The link that we can see in the chat that is devoted to the Ringelmann effect. I'm sure it's very good and it's very useful for you. It's something that we deal with in our routine, in our everyday life, every day. I'm as a teacher. I can observe, I can see it in every student's group. It's an aspect about the number of team members. If I give my students a task to prepare something, to prepare a project, a mini project, to prepare, to solve a task, it's no matter what. And if we build groups consisting of 3 people, then I'm sure that every member of these groups will do something. And if the group consists of 10 or 12 people, the usual situation is that only 3, 4, maximum 5 people really work, and the rest sleep, the rest enjoy the work of others. This is the effect of social laziness, the reduction of individual effort in a teamwork compared with the situation when the individual works alone. So their optimal number of team members according to Ringin-Malm effect is 7 people plus minus 2. So from 5 to 9. It is the optimal number. There are also other aspects that we can consider, that we can discuss in this sphere, in this field, but we don't have so much time. Next step by planning, it is detailed planning. When we make a project structure. Here you can see some aspects how we can structure a project in details. For example, building a house, if we consider it as a project, we can structure this project based on time periods. For example, the first and the second half a year, if I want to have a new innovative house in a year. We can structure the same project based on physical objects. For example, I structure this project into parts, building of a house, construction of a house itself, and construction of a garage. These are physical objects. Construction of a house can be considered in some phases. For example, we make the foundation for the house and then the house itself. These are two different phases. The project excuse me, can have different function stages. For example, I can structure this project so the first stage we make the kitchen, the second the living room, the third I don't know other rooms. So these are function. Space. We can structure our project internal space, internal environment, and external environment. For example, the house, the interior, and the territory near the house, the garden, and so on. So you can use any of these aspects to structure the project. Usually, people combine some of these aspects. For example, we make stages based on function and on time. And we write for every stage tasks, functional tasks that should be solved, and time. And we can see whether for this time period we get or not the expected intermediate results, whether we solve intermediate tasks in the framework of each stage in order to get to our global goal at the end. So this is the theoretical material that I had, that I wanted to discuss with you, to present you. And now I'd like to return to our beginning, to our start. And I explained why I call project management management of constellations, but if you remember, I also stated that the project management is the most difficult and the highest level of management. Now I'd like to get to know your ideas about this statement, whether are you agree with it or not, and why.
Teacher, I would like to share my experience according to the project management. In my country, we were develop a new project to the fittings in this COVID and this infection. And I tried to move my equipment or my team to develop different areas, but it's be too stress. I have a very stress because in some point in the project I can't do anymore. I think that my people needs more motivation to continue and to have a spiritually strong. I don't know how to say this motivation, but in fact, really, I very feel very little because I can share this. I can this church is very powerful, very bigger. It's too bigger. This is a project management work. It's difficult. It's really difficult, and my meal has a lot of illusions, and I have a internal fight, like material and idols, or Platon or Aristoteles, or I don't know. I try to speak in different contexts. For example, in the Berserk mode, when the fighter or when the just try to fight with others, we can see our family or friends because the illusions is too very hard. Try to move the team para conseguir la meta. This is my experience.
Thank you. Thanks. Okay. Dear participants, join us. Share your opinion, your experience with us, your ideas. It is, on the one hand, it's an easy question. On the other hand, it's a quite difficult question for me. Is it a project or not? It depends on in what context we consider it. Because I have already said today that for many students, for many people whom I communicate with, a project is usually associated with a business project, a business plan, I would say, a business plan, or it's general a project, organize a big event. So it depends. If we speak about project management, about innovative project in the economy, in technologies, then if it is limited in time, if it is aimed at getting a unique result, or if it is aimed at changing something, I think it's a project. Why we speak about projects on the whole? We can realize a new idea in a process, actually. We can we can implement innovations in a process. Yeah. I think the duration, that only the duration is not a criterion to decide is it a project or not. I would consider it as a project if it was really aimed at transforming the company, at changing something in a company. So for me, the key word is transform, new. In this context, yes, I would consider it as a project. So we can implement innovations in a process, of course, but it's quite risky because remember the conveyor, yeah? It's a technology. It is a technology. It is the process that was checked, checked many times, and it functions well. And if we make changes in this process, and if we make risky changes, it's dangerous. A project management has a goal to test an idea, yeah, to test an innovative idea, to test changes that we want to implement in the company, for example. And if the project result is negative, if we have tested the idea and understood it was a bad idea, it's also an effect, it's also a result, it's an outcome, it's experience. We have tested, we know that it doesn't work. And then we can decide we continue working, we continue developing it or not. So, okay, you had 3 months duration, you had a fixed budget. It was quite unique, good. Okay. Johanna, I'm sorry if I don't speak it correctly. What is your opinion? What is your sense of the changes that this project brought to your company? Did you feel these changes at the end? It's a question about the efficiency and effectiveness of a project.
I would say that at the end of the project, it has transformed the whole company, and the main goal of the project was to maintain and to also cope with new advices from other businesses that we were cooperating with, and also it was a project together with a bigger German city, and they wanted also to transform how they interact with the partners, and we're one of the partners of the city. So yeah, it had like a lot of major effects on the company also itself. And yeah, I don't know if I can say if successful or not successful, because it was a change in the end. It was the company was more hierarchic, and but we had like better communication to our partners and more transparency, I guess. So this was the goal, and after this time period, we matched the budget and the time, and it was seen as a success. But it was not easy at all. It was not only changing like a software, it was like a changing whole mindset. So I guess it was then a project because it was nobody really knew how it would come out. So we had no specific, it was not that we changed the process when we knew, okay, there will be some change in process. We changed like the whole mindset of the company, so the whole structure. So yes, it was quite interesting. My first experience with a kind of project management nature.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, I'm stubborn and I return to my statement made at the beginning that the project management is really the most difficult and the highest level of management. Why? Because when we speak about unique results, about innovations, innovative ideas, actually we speak about management of innovations. Now when you share your experience and you told about motivation, about motivation problems, about resistance to innovations, to changes, actually we speak about change management. And this is another direction of the science. When we speak about stages for project implementation, here we speak about general theory of management. We speak about organization, control, monitor, and so on and so forth, about planning. When we speak about Deming cycle, about these stages, again, it's quality management, So when we initiate, when we realize a project, we deal with all types of management. That's why I think that this is a very, very difficult experience, but very interesting experience. Yeah. Okay, do you have questions? Mm-hmm. It's absolutely, it can be absolutely exhausting. Yeah, but it's change management. Yeah. If you have questions, please put them in the chat. If you have questions, if you have some ideas, some aspects that you disagree, for example, or some aspects in the sphere of project management that you want to get to learn more in the future, please give me this feedback. It's useful, it's needed. About recommendations, when we speak about different guidelines, about different methodologies, concepts, books, no matter how you call it, my recommendation is for a project manager, for example, to have in your arsenal one hard methodology in one specific area. For example, if you work in IT sphere, then you should know at least one hard methodology very well. And you can have in your arsenal any number of light of folk methodologies, concepts of project realization. It's not enough, in my opinion, to have only one guide, only one concept that you base on. So in this case, the variety, the wide variety is also not a good option, but a good a strategic arsenal of one hard and a number of light methodologies is a good option. I hope I answered your question. The model of a project realization example. You can take any project actually. For example, when I presented you information about project structure and ways to structure a project, I spoke about the house building example. I can have a technical plan for the house construction. This plan was developed by architects, economists, and some other specialists that are in my project team. I am as the people, as a person who order this project. I'm also in this team. So we have a plan for the project realization, and we began to implement this project. We go step by step through this plan. And I'm, as the ordering person, don't want any deviations from this plan. This is the waterfall model. But there we have a crisis, the prices are rising, and new materials occur on the market, and something is not very good with the architecture plan, and we understand it during the project realization. We can make some changes, we can make some tests, we can test new materials, for example, we can make some adjustments in the plan, to the plan, and test whether it works better or worse. And we can do it at every stage of the project realization. It is the V model, for example. I'm not sure that I explained it clearly, but I hope. Okay, thanks. Alberto, I don't know this this thing. Okay, I don't see any people typing anything. Then I'd like to thank you for your attention, and and at the end, I want to highlight again the most important aspects from this mini training, from this mini course. So a project, it is a magical triangle. A project has every project, every real project has these boundaries, these limitations: time, money, and result that we want to achieve. A project, when we speak about projects in the economic contexts, are associated with innovations, with innovative activity of enterprises, with changes, with desire to get a unique result. Every project has some stages. We begin with planning, and it's the most important stage. We implement, we realize, we at the same time we monitor the process of implementation. We study, we learn, we check, we make changes, we make corrections if it's necessary, if it is needed. And at the end, it's very important to go through the lessons learned, to go through reflection, to come to the point whether we, as a project team, came to the expected result or not, and what we feel. Are we satisfied or not? how we assess, how we evaluate, was the project effective, was the project efficient, if yes, if no, why. There is a number of requirements to the project team, to the project methodologies, to the project models, to the project stages. All these aspects are important, but you have touched these aspects in the discussion in our chat. These are motivation. Yeah, this aspect is usually crucial, and goals. Unfortunately, we didn't have time to practice with goal setting, with project structuring, but maybe further in similar courses you will have this opportunity. It is very exciting experience, in my opinion. When I offer such tasks for my students, no matter bachelor or master students or postgraduates, when I offer them to go through this stage goal setting, first I see their reaction, and this is not very promising and optimistic, but when we start form goals, set goals, when we start work with these goals, with their interrelations, it is a very difficult but very interesting process, and usually it takes the main part of the course to work with goals, and then during the project structuring, we understood, we realized that we have to correct the goals, and we return and correct, and this is really a circle. It is a continuous process. So goal setting, motivation, and this part of a project, this soft part, is very interesting because it is related to people, to humans, to communications, to psychology, and here we have a wide range of aspects to discuss, to research, to consider. So thank you for your attention. Thank you that you were so, and you are so active, optimistic.
Thank you.
Thanks. I have asked that, and I know that you are from different countries. Germany, Mexico, right? So
Yes.
yeah, great. I studied in Germany. I have never been in Mexico. What countries do we have else? Oh, I love Germany. I have visited a lot of cities, a lot of Bundesländer. I studied in Stuttgart. Yeah. Okay. What countries do we have here? What countries else? Italy, I think. Italy. It's not so easy to guess. Good. Okay, the most active I see. Aha. Good. It's a pity that you couldn't come to Samara, to Russia. And it's a pity that we couldn't see each other in reality offline, but I'm optimistic enough, and I hope that one day you will come. You will come to Russia, to Samara region. It's beautiful, in my opinion. It will be beautiful and interesting experience. As for Russia, I'm sure it will be a project for you to come to to Russia, especially to Samara. It will be, in any case, a project. Believe me. So if you want new challenges in your life, then come. You are welcome. Yeah, please come. I hope to see you here on the Samara territory. So thank you for your patience. Thank to my voice, because I know it is terrible. It is because of the cold. Thank you for your interest to the topic, to the region. If you will have any questions in the future, then you have my email for contacts. I'm quite a busy person, but I try to care about contacts. So thank you a lot, and write me if you have any questions, if you have any ideas, research ideas, if you have any ideas for joint projects, if you need an advice, or if you need a review for your future scientific works, who knows. So I'm at your disposal, any case. Good. You have my email address, and I asked assistants. I will download this presentation. If you need it, they will send. We'll send it to you. Okay. Then bye. And thank you a lot.
Пока, пока.
Пока.
See you, teacher. Thank you.